build the perfect mock draft for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, here in the Ingles studio, we are the Sportsocracy, always brought to you by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene, and these perfect mock drafts named after the perfect comedian.
Well, Lottie frickin' duh!
Yeah, Chris Farley had it all, and the Atlanta Falcons, they don't have it all. But they could pick up some good pieces in this draft, especially with their first overall pick coming at number 8.
I'm going to say the same thing about Atlanta that I said about their division mates, Carolina Panthers. Don't take a damn quarterback! I don't like any quarterback in this draft. Look, if you're Atlanta, this is even more than Carolina. If you're Atlanta, you have to know there is nothing you're going to do that is going to keep you from being one of the 5 worst teams in this league. You're just not. But next offseason, you have a bajillion dollars. You'll have a top 5 pick in a quarterback class that's going to be drastically better than this one, starting with C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, Bryce Young out of Alabama, Alex Van Dyke from Miami, and a slew of others that could propel themselves to better than any quarterback in this class. I know the urge to take Malik Willis is going to be high. The problem is, I don't love the fit in Atlanta. The more I have looked into this and thought about it, I don't love the fit because there are a lot of things that go into this Atlanta offense. I get the fit with Marcus Mariota. He's a stopgap for a year, 2 years until the next guy can take over. You're playing the long game with Arthur Smith. So to me, do you know who the starting receivers for the Atlanta Falcons would currently be?
Olamide Zaccheaus.
He's
they
the
brought
slot.
him back. Yeah, I don't remember.
Demir Byrd, Kaderil Hodge, and Frank Darby.
That's gross.
So for me, at 8 in the perfect mock draft, I'm going to get the number 1 receiver on my board by a marked amount.
And that guy is Drake London, wide receiver from USC.
I thought he was going to – when this process started, he was in the 20s, and I thought nobody was going to figure it out, and I was going to be able to sit back and go, hey, you remember that dumb shit I said about Jamar Chase last year? I'm going to make up for it with Drake London. I have always said USC players go into the NFL because they weren't really well coached under – what the hell is his name? He's
Clay Helton.
Clay Helton. He's at Georgia Southern now, so he's completely out of the realm of shit I care about. I just have looked at Amon-Ra St. Brown's a great example of this last year. All these issues with him. Watch the damn tape. Mm-hmm. Watch the tape of the natural talent. It was not that hard to figure out. He can speak to this. I was very high on Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'm very high on Drake London. I think he has a lot of Mike Evans in his game. He's a very big receiver. He's very high cut. People are losing their shit because he's not a burner. Good God Almighty, he's 6'5". How fast do I need you to be? And then, to me, Kyle Pitts is more of a receiver than he is a tight end. So my objective would be to go Drake London, Kyle Pitts, run either Darby or Zaccheaus or whoever it is out of the slot, find a solution at tight end. And no, I don't believe you have one of those currently. I know Kyle Pitts is because Kyle Pitts is not really a tight end. Yeah. He played way less in line than you think. So now, but that would give you a hell of a tandem. A year from now, you'll have an asset in Calvin Ridley that is going to be diminished, but maybe you can make that work. Maybe you can get a little draft capital for him. But you set this up to where whoever the next quarterback is, possibly, you have the pieces in place.
Right. In the second round, they've got 2 picks. The first one is their own at number 43 overall. And in the real thing, you might have to make a trade to get up to get this guy, but in the perfect mock draft, he falls right in your lap here at number 43. It is a quarterback at Ole Miss, Matt Corral.
You remember all those things I just said about quarterbacks?
Yep.
There's one big-ass exception to that. It's Matt Corral. Now, I don't love the idea of you trading. For me, on my big board, Matt Corral's at 70 because my big board has to evaluate his fit in every offense, not in your offense. I look at Matt Corral, and I'll tell you what I see, a shorter version of Ryan Tannehill because I think he can do the play action he thinks. To me, I want you to sit back for a year because you did a lot of those pull-it, zone read bullshit things at Ole Miss. You're just not going to be able to do that at that level in the NFL. So I want you to be in this system for a year, really figure out the idiosyncrasies of it. If by game 12 you're going, hey, we're comfortable with him, you tried him out there for 5 games to get him some reps. He's the one exception to the rule to me. And he only fits in Atlanta because I want him to be in that kind of system where it's yes, there are intricacies to the offense. A lot of it's play action. A lot of it's being able to boot and have the ability to read downfield and be a little bit of a threat with your feet, which I think Matt Corral can be. I like the fit there at this point. I don't want you trading up. I don't want you taking a guy at 8. But if you can sit here at your pick in the early 40s and Matt Corral fall in your lap, well, then that's why this is called the perfect mock draft, because that's the perfect thing that could happen for you.
The other pick in the second round that the Atlanta Falcons have once belonged to the Tennessee Titans, and at 58 overall, Kenyon Green, guard out of Texas A&M.
This is a player I know they're really fond of, and I'm sure somebody is looking at this going, but what about Jalen Mayfield? What the fuck about him? I didn't like him last year. I don't like him now. Mm-hmm. And I look at Kenyon Green and go, I know some teams evaluate him as a center. I don't think that's obviously where he would play with the Falcons because they do like Hennessy, who I just so happen to know a little bit about because his brother has been the long snapper for my Jets for about 706 years. I think Kenyon Green could come in immediately and be that left guard in between Matthews, in between Hennessy. There's a lot of untapped potential there. He started this process in the top 20, and there was good tape. It was just really inconsistent. And now I'm looking at it going, okay, if I could get you at the back end of the second round, now my line is, I'm not going to say it's perfect. I've still got McGarry on the right side, which I'm not in love with. But I feel like the combination of talent of the first 4, Jalen Mayfield can be that swing tackle, which is what I told you last year I thought he was going to be. He was a damn disaster in large part last year. So you fill that hole. Now with Mariota, you give yourself a chance to be competitive. I'm sure somebody's going, oh, wait, I have one for this.
Sweet mother of God, what is the holdup?
With the defense. You tell me what you could do to make this defense good. It's not going to be good, but you can get a leg up on the offense. Mm-hmm. You've put some makeshift pieces in place with Rashaan Evans, who's very comfortable with Dean Pease, the defensive coordinator. You're not going to be able to – this defense is going to be bad no matter what you could take every pick in this draft and draft nothing but guys on defense. This defense will still suck. Or you can look at what's going to be available next year and go, I can put this defense together any way I want to because now I've got a young offense where my line's in place, the weapons are right, I've got the young developmental quarterback that's on a rookie deal. I'm good offensively, and I can focus all my assets on the defense next year to protect Matt Corral and just treat this as a blip year.
Well, let's address some of the defense here.
Oh, I'm not saying you just completely ignore it.
No.
I'm saying that for me, this is the ideal way to go through the first 3 picks because now I have an infusion of young talent on offense, and I'm handling that side of the ball with an eye towards next year when that albatross dead cap hit of Matt Ryan's comes off.
Atlanta has 2 picks in the third round at their own pick at 74 overall. Brandon Smith, linebacker, Penn State.
I think he is such an ideal fit with Deion Jones because he's an inside linebacker, and I'm sure somebody's going to say, but Rashaan Evans. Rashaan Evans is going to play on the edge. That's the only thing that makes this make sense. It's the only reason you would have paid him that kind of money is because you think he's going to be that edge rusher. Do I agree with that? No, not really. But I will also say some of the best times of Rashaan Evans' career was with Dean Pease, and he was used that way a lot. So if you do that, you've now got Rashaan Evans that's, let's be nice and say he lacks some ability as a cover guy. And then you got Deion Jones, who, yes, I do really like Deion Jones, but he could not play dead in a Western as a coverage guy. So what do? I find the best coverage linebacker in this draft by a market amount. He's a borderline corner, but he's built like a linebacker, and he's rangy enough. The one thing that you got to worry about is how good are you at stopping the run. I think with the things you put in place, Deion Jones will get better at that. I don't know that he's ever going to be great at it. He's going to be a predominant pass rusher. The way this defense is built, you're going to have guys playing out of position. You're going to have pass rush coming from weird places. It's just the way it is for a year. And you can't fix every freaking problem in 1 year, especially when you've got that kind of dead cap hit. But to me, Brandon Smith's a guy I've been on since this process started. I love linebackers like that are just unbelievably good in coverage. And to me, I think he got washed out a little bit by the talent at Penn State. I think if he played anywhere else, he would be a second-round pick easily.
The Falcons' second, third-round pick comes from the Indianapolis Colts in the Matt Ryan trade.
It's another guy that I think every team in the NFL is on in some shape, form, or fashion.
82nd overall. I mean, it's hard to deny the talent when you see it. Marcus Jones, the cornerback out of Houston.
Well, last year you took Richie Grant out of Central Florida, and I'm huge on complimentary drafting. I don't think anybody with an IQ above a fucking French press could look at Richie Grant and go, yeah, you're a slot corner. No, you were a sieve. I mean, just an unbelievable, unmitigated disaster. So you take Marcus Jones, a guy that I know they're bringing in on a top 30 visit. You play him in the slot. He is an immediate slot corner. He's a little short, but in the slot, I just really don't care.
Yeah, he's only, 5'8"?
5'8", yeah. He's also the best return man in this class. Mm-hmm. So now I would have Cordero Patterson and Marcus Jones. So I'm going to be a threat in the return game. And let's be honest, you're going to be returning a hell of a lot of kicks this year. So there is something to that. If Marcus Jones was 6 foot tall, he'd be a first-round pick. He's not, and he's not. But there is a reason that every team in the league has some form of interest in this kid. He falls to the Falcons here, would be a day one starter, and now I can put Richie Grant at free safety. Because I'm sure somebody is, we need a safety. Well, you have one. You took him last year, and you took him reasonably damn high. I mean, you took him at 40. You just played him in the slot. For what reason, I have absolutely no idea. Complimentary drafting. Take what you already have and make it better.
In the fourth round at 114 overall, the Atlanta Falcons, with their own pick, will take Damien Pierce, running back out of Florida.
I was not as high on him initially. I saw him run at the combine, and he was faster than I thought. He's now moved up to my number 5 running back in this class. And I think he can be not a bell cow, but he just does a little bit of everything, and I think he got hidden at Florida. He's a really, really good player, but it was just in small doses. Mm-hmm. And I look at Florida and go, you're going to get lumped in with the LaMichael Pirons of the world that we said the same thing about. They came to the league and couldn't play dead in a Western. Yeah, okay. This is not the same player.
Yeah.
To me, perfect compliment to Cordero Patterson. Now you can use him some in the slot. You can use him as that jack of all trades piece. He'll still take snaps out of the backfield, but Damien Pierce, you can play them together. And I think he would be the long-term running back of the future as the running back, not the gadget guy that Cordero Patterson was.
In the fifth round, 151 overall. Oh, this is one I really like. Out of Nevada.
Well, you should.
Out of Nevada, wide receiver Romeo Doubs.
One of the things that I use these mock drafts for are players that continuously keep popping up in these drafts, because these are all insulated. So just because Romeo Doubs goes to the Falcons doesn't mean that I won't have him in a video for the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. This is the best case scenario. So it's kind of insolvent to what's happening around the league. Romeo Doubs has been in about 6 of these. He kind of reminds me of a really poor man's Rashad Bateman from last year, in that the route tree's not great, but the raw ability is just absolutely ridiculous. The thing he gets dinged on is there were some drops issues that seemed to get better last year, and he's a generate him touches kind of guy. Mm-hmm. Because as of right now, he cannot run an NFL route tree. That's the reason you can get him here, when on talent alone, he should be going in the 3rd round. The problem is that he's going to be a little bit of a developmental piece. Atlanta can take the time to do that. He would get plenty of touches, plenty of snaps with the way that this lineup is set. And now, I mean, really be honest with yourself. Look at the offense that I have constructed here with young talent. Do you not feel more warm and fuzzy about that offense than you did?
Oh, no doubt.
And next year, you just fixate on the defense.
Mm-hmm. And then the next year after that, if you get Calvin Ridley back and you have to keep him or what, that's a hell of a wide receiver room.
Yep.
In the 6th round, 2 picks in the 6th round for the Atlanta Falcons, 190 overall, Marquan McCall, nose tackle out of Kentucky.
Tyler Davison is poopy, and that's the nicest way I can say that. He's one of those players that proves positive that dreams do come true. Because I swear to you, if you had told me how much money he would make in the NFL and not told me how he made that money, I would have said he was either working for El Chapo or he won the fucking Publishers Clearinghouse because that is the only thing that would have made any sense to me. Can he be a rotational piece? Yes. But if you're going to play this Dean Pease defense, you need the big space eater. They're playing Grady Jarrett on the end way more than I would have ever thought. I thought he would slide into that role. He's not a great pass rusher. The thing about Marquan McCall is he's very raw. I mean, insanely raw. And you're going to have to watch his weight. And this is one of the few players in this draft I look at and go, hey, you know that thing the Patriots did with Trent Brown where they offered him $750,000 in incentives if he stayed below 365? Mm-hmm. You might have to do that with Marquan McCall because he's a big bastard. There were times last year I think he was close to 400 pounds. Just looking at some of the film and comparing it to others, he looked heavier. He's very raw. But if you're patient, he would come in and be a rotational piece off the jump. This is the reason he's still here is because he is an old school kind of player. This is the old stereotypical kind of nose tackle. He played guard 2 years ago, so he doesn't really even know what he's doing. There is untapped potential here that is insane. It's just so narrow, the scheme fit, but he does fit with Atlanta. And you know, you may not get more than 200 snaps out of him next year. But if the goal is developmental piece here, I get 200 snaps out of him next year, 500 snaps out of him the year after that, and he's my starting nose tackle 3 years from now, then this is a home run A-plus pick at this point in this draft.
Their last pick in the 2022 NFL Draft is a compensatory pick at the end of the 6th round, 214 overall, and the Falcons could get Leon O'Neal, safety from Texas A&M.
I know you like Eric Harris, or some of you don't. He not very good. And I've already talked about wanting to play Richie Grant in that deep safety role. I think he is a free safety. That's what you drafted him to be, and that's where you should play him. Leon O'Neal is the exact opposite of Richie Grant because he's not overly rangy. He's very good against the run. In the pass game, he takes too many chances. And so to me, if you can bring him up, play him in the box, use what has gotten him here, I think he can play early. If for nothing else as a rotational safety. But because he is very good against the run. He's a high-level prospect. And I'm going to be honest with you, I already said this about Kenyon Green, and I'm going to say it about a slew of other players that come out of Texas A&M. I'm not sure they're very well coached because a lot of them come to the league and get better. And I could easily see that being him. I think he can be better in coverage than he was. I just don't think Jimbo Fisher used him the right way. So you bring him in initially to be I think a good special teams player, rotational safety with the hope in the long run that he turns into a starting box safety in this league.
The Chris Farley perfect mock draft for the Atlanta Falcons. It all starts with Drake Jackson. You get Matt Corral. Maybe he works, maybe he doesn't, but I mean it's worth the gamble at the second round.
Oh, 100%. This would be the least sexy A++ I ever gave because I grade harshly and I would look at this and go, man, your fans are not going to love this. But I, as the
evaluator,
the dumbass ESPN draft nerd, I would look at this and go, oh, you crushed this. If you like this draft, if you don't like this draft, if you look at me and
Let me tell you why I suck.
And that's what you think of me, and you want to call me a big Ginger Billy imitation-looking man-bun dipshit, feel free. Throw those in the comments. If there's a player you want to know how they fit with the Falcons, chuck those out there. Starting this Friday at 5 Eastern time every Friday, Monday, Wednesday, leading up to the NFL Draft and the happy hour after our ESPN show, which you can find here live on YouTube, 3 Eastern time every weekday. We will be doing mullety mailbag things where you can ask questions about your team. We'll do about 2 minutes per day on each team. We'll try to get as many of those questions as we can leading up to the April 28th NFL Draft live from Las Vegas, Nevada.
And we will cover each and every pick, plus we'll have more team-by-team content before the draft right here in the Sportsocracy.
And the first one of you to make a Boomhauer reference, you win. And I'm going to be honest with you, the closer we get to the draft, the faster I'm going to talk. So it's going to sound like Mel Kiper fucked a sheep.
Hit that subscribe button and always join us here in the Ingles studio. Ingles Supermarkets, low prices, love the savings. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene.
Bye.
And we will see you next time.